What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the scorecard, the boxing scorecard, where I ask people to bring your scorecard and an explanation, not just simply your opinion. Last night we had the heavyweight bout between Jared Anderson and Mr. Charles Martin. Let's get right into it here for the scorecard. The official scorecard was two judges had it 99-90, and one judge had it exactly how I had it, which was 98-91. We can start with that quick scorecard real quick and just run through the rest of the picks. Thank you very much. Just to give you a quick background on each guy, Charles Martin coming in with a record of 29 wins with 26 knockouts with only 4 losses. He had a good run at he's 37 years old now, so he's getting kind of towards the end of his career. He had a good run. He was a champion. Lost his heavyweight championship to Anthony Joshua, and back in 2016. Yeah, we see the score. Yep, there's the scorecard right there. Thank you very much for that. Charles Martin lost his heavyweight championship back in 2016 to Anthony Joshua. Since then, he's gone 6 wins and only 2 losses. The second one was just last night. And he showed why he's a smart veteran. Switching up to Jared Anderson real quick. We can switch through the rest of the picks now. Jared Anderson still coming up. This was a big step up for Jared Anderson, coming in with 15 wins. 14 of them went. Well, he came into this fight 14 wins, 14 knockouts. With the only one that went the distance was the fight from last night. So this was a big step up for him. He's only 23 years old. His ass is, like I said, this was a big step up for him. So let's get right into the scorecard. Round 1. Like I said, you can switch through those picks whenever you get the chance to. Round 1. My scorecard for round 1 was I gave it to actually Charles Martin, even though Anderson was coming forward a lot more. My exact notes for round 1 was Anderson came on late, but Martin threw and landed more to the body. Nobody really landed any significant punches up top. As I get the highlights on in the background here, nobody really landed anything strong up top. Round 2. The next 3 rounds I gave to Anderson. Round 2 gave to Jared Anderson. Anderson landed more and was more aggressive. Martin looked more in retreat mode as opposed to counter punching. Sometimes you can move backwards and still be a good boxer and still do your thing. But in this case here, it looked like Martin, who was the veteran, he looked like he was more in retreat mode. He was throwing his punches, but more like get off of me type punches, not like I'm trying to hurt you type punches. He was trying to look for the right spots a little bit too long. Round 3 actually marked it as a close round. Marked round 3 as a close round. There wasn't much action. My exact notes for round 3 was boring round. Anderson caught him at the end to win the round. He caught him good. He caught Charles Martin good in that at the end of that 3rd round. But it was a little bit. So that made it an automatic 10-8 in the professional ranking. It made it a 10-8 round, even though there wasn't much action before that. That's why I marked that as a close round, not because there was a lot of action going on, because wasn't sure what was going to happen. Round 4, Anderson throwing bombs. Martin, he was already on backup retreat mode to begin with. So after when Anderson hurt him at the end of the 3rd round, he felt he could come forward a lot more in that 4th one. Martin retreating, surviving. He's a veteran, though, so don't be surprised if this goes the distance. Yes, this was round 4 that I made that note. Said, don't be surprised if this fight goes the distance, because he's a veteran that knows how to hang on. He got stopped, like I said, by Anthony Joshua. Let me check out the rest of his other wins. All of them, most of them went. Oh yeah, he's stopping guys actually. When he wins, Charles Martin, when he went on those 6 fights that he won since. Oh my bad, that was that was Jared Anderson's stats I was looking at. Look, I'm looking at Charles Martin here to see if most of his other fights went the distance. Nope. Yeah, he when he wins, he's like stopping guys. Since he lost to Anthony Joshua back in 2016, he's won 6 fights since then. He lost to Adam Kawanaki by decision. Kawanaki is a very good boxer. Lost to Luis Ortiz. He got stopped by Ortiz. That was his only stoppage. And then Jared Anderson, he lost by on points. He only got hurt in that 3rd round. In his other fights and Charles Martin's other wins, like, he hurts guys. It's like I said, he has 26 knockouts in his 29 fights. And it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter. Of course, the level of competition matters. Not everyone, even if it's at the lower levels, if you're stopping every single one of those opponents, that is an impressive thing to do. So, so Jared Anderson still had to be careful. My whole point of bringing all that whole speech up is that Jared Anderson still had to be careful boxing this guy. Anderson still only at 15 fights, still on his way up. So this was a big step up for him. So that was round 4. Round 5 actually gave to Charles Martin. My specific notes for round 5, Martin hurt him bad. Oh yes, this was the round that Martin caught Jared Anderson, hurt him bad. It was with a straight 1-2 right down the middle. With a straight 1-2 right down the middle, and then a hard straight cross. And that specifically comes from Jared Anderson's defense. One of his best tools is making his opponent miss, not just blocking punches, but making his opponent miss. And I always say, as a coach coaching boxers, blocking is good, but making the person miss is even better. Because even if you're blocking, like if someone's throwing punches, if I'm throwing punches, even if you're blocking most of them, I'm still confident. I'm still confident that I'm still touching you, and one of them is going to get through. But if I'm throwing all the time and you're just making me completely miss, that's what discourages people. Like, this is a perfect example right here. The way that Jared Anderson leans back like that, two things. He leans back further than most people can lean back, but he's not just leaning on it, like leaning back from his back. He's putting the weight onto his back leg. A little bit excessive with the upper body, but it works for him, and it works for him 90% of the time. The problem is when people throw hooks like this, like Charles Martin threw this hook right here. Yeah, you can lean back and make a person miss all day, and then come back with a quick hard jab or a hard straight cross like Muhammad Ali used to do, make you miss and make you pay quickly like that. The problem with this type of defense, with the straight going back, which Anderson was doing most of the time, is that when someone comes with a straight 1-2 right down the middle, if they turn their hip and pivot their foot and make that cross long enough, they're going to reach you, which is exactly what happened in that 5th round when Martin hurt. He didn't drop him, so it wasn't a 10-8. So it wasn't a 10-8 round, even though it could be, like in recent times. Sometimes if someone's really hurt badly and barely surviving the round, judges have been, I guess, encouraged to mark it as a 10-8 round to reward that other person. But anyway, my scorecard didn't reflect that. I didn't mark it a 10-8 round, even though Anderson was very badly hurt in that 5th round, with a straight 1-2 from that southpaw stance from Martin right down the middle. And then later on in the round, another hard straight cross from that southpaw stance, hard straight left, right down the middle. Anderson leaning back. So yeah, survived that 5th round. Did Anderson? Still marked it as just a 10-9 round, and 10-9 round. Round 6. Round 6. This is where Anderson showed his boxing skills, because after being badly hurt in that last round, Anderson clearly won the 6th round with his jab alone. And remember, Anderson is an orthodox, so he stands with his left foot forward. His opponent, Martin, is a southpaw standing with his right foot forward. You'll hear a lot of people say, it's hard to throw jabs against a southpaw. If you have a good jab, you have a good jab. It doesn't matter what stance the person's in. And Anderson definitely showed that in that 6th round. He won that jab with his 6th round. He won that 6th round with his jab alone. It helped him. My exact notes for that was helped keep Martin from throwing that lefty cross or a simple 1-2, because his initial jab was better. Yeah. And it wasn't just him throwing the jab, it was the speed of it. And once in a while, Jared would throw a quick 1-2 right down the middle. This picture right here, before people go crazy in the comment section about the comparison, obviously he is not at the level of Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson yet, but he does show some similar qualities with his movements and his ability to. When the perfect example is when he did that lean back, like that excessive leaning back with his upper body like that. Nobody did that like he did that like Muhammad Ali. The way that he leaned back and then would come back with a couple of good straight punches. Muhammad Ali is one of the only people that obviously all boxers can do it, but as far as the excessive leaning back, not as much. And then the power of Mike Tyson, definitely displaying the power of Mike Tyson with his 14 knockouts in his 14 fights. Last night against Martin was the first time he's actually gone the distance, which is good for certain boxers because you need that experience. You can't just, not that you can't just stop everyone, but you need you need to get that experience in there against good guys. All right, back to the scorecard. Round 7, and for the rest of the fight, I gave the rest of the rounds to Anderson. Real quickly through the rounds. Round 7, Anderson sticking to the basics, quick jabs and 1-2s. The speed is what is keeping Martin hesitant. Yeah, exactly. I've heard boxers say this before too. Like certain boxers might win a fight because they have a little bit more power than the person, and they were able to still use their boxing skills. But I was gonna say man strength. When you're in your 20s, everyone has, you're still strong. But some guys have that extra gear of strength that their opponent, even if they're faster, they're kind of worried about their opponent's power, so that they hesitate to throw. And then there's other cases where there's a boxer that has exceptional speed, even though they might not have the power, but they have exceptional speed, and they're able to keep their opponent, which has more power, off of them, keep their opponent, which has more power, hesitating from coming after them because they're worried about the speed. And that's what Charles Martin was doing. That's what Jared Anderson was doing to Martin for the rest of the fight, basically. Not hurting Martin, but just throwing fast enough punches and quick 1-2s and quick, fast combinations that kept Martin hesitant from walking into that fire. Round 8, Anderson keeps looking at the clock. Oh, yes. This was the question mark about Mr. Anderson. Perhaps maybe because, he did look, for some reason, he kept looking at the clock, which is an obvious sign that that you're tired, or looking to see how you're going to pace yourself for the rest of the round. Usually boxers only do that. Well, not necessarily, because fighters that have been in there with Floyd say that he like when he ties you up, he'll take a quick glance at the clock to see how much time is left, to see whatever strategy he's going to use for that round. So we know Floyd's never out of shape, so it's not necessarily showing a sign that you're tired, but in most cases it is. In most cases, if a boxer's looking up at the clock to see how much time's left, they're trying to see how much, because they're tired and want to see how they got to pace themselves. And Anderson was doing that a couple of times before. I just wrote this down the 8th round, but he did that a couple of times before that. Martin, my other notes for round 8 was Martin is still dangerous. Very close to landing something big. Heavyweights doesn't take much, obviously. Yeah, you can still tell, even though Anderson was clearly winning these rounds, he still had to be careful because Martin was still dangerous, which is why I say sometimes, like, even the wide scorecard doesn't always tell exactly how the fight went. This was a wide scorecard for Anderson, but it was still a dangerous fight. Round 9, my notes for round 9 was, commentator said it perfectly, this is still a fight. I wrote "still" in capital letters. Like I said, Martin was still dangerous from that southpaw stance, not just because he's a southpaw, because he's a good southpaw. And the last round, this was a 10-round fight. Anderson trying to finish him, but Martin was durable. Oh yes, and Martin bombed him. Martin bombed Anderson, like probably in the last 10 seconds of the round. It would have been interesting to see how Anderson would have been able to recover if that was a 12-round fight. Again, learning experience. He won the fight, but still a very good learning experience for Charles Martin. And let's take a look at the rankings as I pull them up here. So, of course, I don't know what Mr. Fury is doing, but I have said this ever since he stepped up to the heavyweight division, that Alexander Usyk is the best heavyweight in boxing. Yes, I said this before Tyson Fury and Wilder even fought. I believed in Alexander Usyk's skills. Anyways, before I go on my thing about Usyk, let's stick to Anderson and Martin. Where they're at right now. Martin, he's 37 years old, coming towards the end of his career. Still a good veteran at this point. I guess you can call him a gatekeeper, someone who's like he'd be a very good test for someone that's on the rise. When you get through the C-level competition, and you're stepping up to like B- level competition. Charles Martin would be at that B level competition, if that. So that's where he would be at, especially at 37 years old. But like I said, he was still dangerous right up until the last round. Don't see him in any of the rankings. But Anderson, where is he in the ring? He's not ranked in the ring. Anderson is he's ranked in the WBA at number 8. He is not ranked by WBC. And I don't see him ranked, and he's ranked by WBO at number 8. So he's in the top 10 in 3 out of the 5 major belt sanctions. So he's working his way up. Like I said, he's only at 15 fights right now, but he passes the eye test. He got hurt once. Well, he got hurt twice. We didn't at the end of the last round. He got hurt early in this fight, and he weathered the storm. He got hurt bad at the end of that 5th round, and then convincingly won the 6th round, which showed that he was kept his composure and fought smart, because he didn't get all wild. He used his jab. He used his boxing skills to get him back, to give him some time to get back into that fight. So Yeah. Don't let's not be too hard on him. Let him give him some time to get better. This was also his first time fighting in front of his in his hometown of Ohio. So of course there's that extra added pressure fighting in front of all your family and friends and the expectations inside and outside of the ring. You got to think about those things too. What else are we looking at though? Who could be next for Anderson? Um, I think he needs a few more step up fights. A few more step up fights. This guy Linier Perro, ranked number 4 by the WBA. He was a former Cuban star. Luis Ortiz is getting up there. Not sure how much he has left, but I guess that would be a name to put on your resume. Someone that's older in age, but has a name and still has the skills, kind of like Charles Martin, to test you. Kind of like Klitschko at 39 years old when Tyson Fury fought him, right? It wasn't the same Klitschko, but it was a very good name, and Klitschko would, still had good enough skills to give Fury a test. But at 39 years old, definitely was not expecting him to win that one. What else we got? Frankie Sanchez. Yes, Frankie Sanchez would be a good fight. Andy Ruiz would probably look. Andy Ruiz is looking for more bigger fights with more money. Him and Wilder hopefully can get it on, rather than knock him out and then step up and fight Anthony Joshua. I still want to see that Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder fight. Deontay Wilder versus anybody is going to be exciting for the simple fact that he has that one hitter quitter. One of the only people, like, you can honestly say that all it takes is one most of the time. So Tyson Fury is the only person to actually survive that, and he even went down a couple times in each fight. Whether you believe Tyson Fury won all 3 fights or he clearly won the last 2. He had to earn those by walking through those bombs. He got knocked down several times. But other than that, Wilder, him. Who else would you say? Somebody, I even checked the comments. Who else would you say has that one punch knockout power in boxing? I would say Gervonta Davis. You got Beterbiev at light heavyweight, but Beterbiev, he more so beats you up and stops you. Beterbiev doesn't exactly have that one punch knockout power. He really just beats you up and makes you and just stops you to make your corner throw in a towel or the referee stop the fight. But as far as just one punch, out power, Wilder, Tank Davis, I don't know. Even if you're not watching the show live, leave some comments about who you think has that one punch KO power. Who else we got? Oh, I believe the rematch is set. Yes, thank you very much for those picks. Keep rolling them through. The rematch is set between Zhilei Zhang and Joe Joyce. They fought a couple of weeks ago. I believe it was in May, where Zhang stopped Joe Joyce. Well, they already got the rematch, I believe, for September. Not sure who's gonna take that one. Zhang, this guy's like 6'8", long, tall, lanky southpaw, with good boxing skills though, not just a big body. He actually has very good boxing skills. Anthony Joshua, he still has a lot left in the tank. Very interesting to see what his next move is gonna be. Again, he's training with the number 1 boxer, the number 1 trainer in the sport, or at least one of the number 1 trainers in the sport, Derek James. I was saying that before he got all these good guys in his stable now. Anthony Joshua and Ryan Garcia is training with him too. But yeah, Derek James, one of the top guys. So yeah, man, Anderson, he's got his hands full, man. This heavyweight division still has some good guys. Otto Wallen, and because it has guys that you would consider high risk but low reward. They might not be big names, but they're guys that will give you trouble. So it's hard to demand big money. Like I believe in this fight, Martin got 100,000. Martin got 100,000, and Anderson got like 200,000. What up? What up? What up? The Last Bell Boxing, the #1 boxing podcast from the UK. Guys, a hype job, like I said. Anderson, how is he hype job? Are you speaking about Anderson specifically? Because again, he's only at 15 fights right now, so we can't like. How are we going to judge someone as being a hype job at only 15 fights? That's let him fight some A-level competition, and then go from there. Then we'll see how he does from there. My man Carl from the Last Bell Boxing Club. What up? What up? Last Bell Boxing Show. Like I said, the #1 boxing podcast from the UK. So yeah, what else we got? What he couldn't get a hold, bang average, Charles Martin out of shape, out of there. Yeah, Charles Martin survived. Again, I think Anderson was trying to do that, but after getting hurt in that fifth round, he decided to outbox him instead of going after him to get him out of there. He outboxed him instead of trying to get him out of there. Lucky he wasn't in there with a British fighter, or else he would have been left, right, and good night. That is for the future to see. I believe Jared Anderson has the skills to be a very good champion one day. Again, he only has 15 fights, and he does have some good competition to get through. How about him versus Dylan White in a couple of fights? That would be a close one. Dylan White's still ranked in the top 10 in most of these sanctioning bodies. Thank you, Carl. Much respect. Who else we got? Yeah, Oh yeah, Otto. I can't remember if I mentioned Otto Wallen before, but again, he's one of those guys that is a high risk but a low reward, because Otto Wallen gave Tyson Fury a good test when they fought. Obviously, Fury still won that, but Otto Wallen still gave him a good test. You got a guy like Andy Ruiz, who, still living off that upset of Anthony Joshua. Here is the thing. Against Otto Wallen, yes, let's campaign for that one. Jared Anderson versus Otto Wallen. I think that would be a good step up for Jared Anderson. Yes. So specifically about Andy Ruiz, and this goes to about Charles Martin. When Andy Ruiz had that upset against Anthony Joshua, when they called him, they called him on a short notice, but he was already in shape from the last fight that he had. Let me just get this thought through, then I'll get back to that comment, Carl. Andy Ruiz was already in shape from the last fight that he had. I forget who it was, but he was already in shape. So coming into the camp versus Joshua, he was already in shape. Maybe everyone, including myself, overlooked Ruiz. He caught Joshua, stopped him, and then had the rematch where he had months to prepare and did not prepare at all. Came into the fight 20 pounds overweight. Anyways, my whole point of saying this, Charles Martin going into this fight, I think he looked in better shape than he did in his last one. I'm pulling a box rec to see what was the date of his last one. September. He fought last September, so not too long ago. It's not like he had a whole year off. He won by KO against Devin Vargas. Anyways, my whole point of saying that is that he was still, somewhat in the gym coming into this fight. It's not like he's been sitting on the couch for 2 years and got a fight on 2 weeks' notice. So that could be one of the reasons why he was still in good enough shape to go the distance and have good veteran tactics to go the distance with Jared Anderson. What else we got there? Carl says, what about the fights Zhang when Joe Joyce has beat him in the rematch? Yes, that's what I said. I was very interested. I'm very interested to see this rematch. Zhang was the underdog in the first one. I'm assuming he'll be the underdog in this. Well, actually, no, not assuming. I'm not sure who would be the underdog in this one. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought Joe Joyce. You know what? I'm gonna go with Joe Joyce because I thought Joe Joyce is on that path to be one of those the great heavyweights. Even though he's up there in age, he hasn't taken as much damage because he turned pro later on. What else we got? My man Joseph Brown says, can't see White would want too much money and too risky of a fight for White at this stage of his career. Yes. Yeah, I guess so. But I guess the question for Dylan White would be, do we or does he believe that he's still at the level where he can like win another major championship versus one of the top guys? Or does he believe that not that he's done, but he's at the level where he can still make some very good paychecks against like the B-level guys or the guys coming up like Jared Anderson? So that would be the question for Dylan White. Does he still believe he has the shot to beat either Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder or Alexander Usyk? That would be the question. If not, then let's get this fight with Jared Anderson going. Carl says, agreed, nothing in it for White unless it's a massive payday. How about Joe Parker? Oh, yes, Joe Parker. Yeah. Another good veteran. Yep, another good veteran that is not done, but towards the end of his career, and would definitely be a good gatekeeper. So yeah, Jared Anderson versus Joe Parker or Otto Wallen. Yeah, another good step up fight for him. Carl also says, how about throw Michael Hunter, another North American who has not fought anybody of note? Oh, Carl, give these guys some time, man. Well, I can check box rec real quick, but Michael Hunter, how many? If you can tell me how many fights does he have? What's his record? Where is he at in his career before we start saying he hasn't fought anybody of note? Remember, these are step up fights. Michael Hunter against Anderson, another American fighter not wanting to fight anybody of note. Come on, man. Come on now. These guys are still early in their careers, man. They're still early in their career, so give them some time. I'm going back to the rankings here, which I already did, but these guys, yeah. So the main guys, Joseph Parker, yeah. Get some, yeah. You know what, Joseph Parker or Otto Wallen? Is Otto Wallen a UK guy? Because I'm just thinking for Anderson, and since you want to throw Michael Hunter in there, Hunter has fought 23 times. Okay. So yeah, it's about time that he steps up now. It's about time that he steps up. I'll get into a deeper dive about Michael Hunter next time that he fights. Right now, it's about Anderson and Martin. Anderson is only at 15 fights, so please give him. No, Otto Wallen is not from the UK. He's not. Okay, well, I guess Joseph Parker to give him that UK exposure, that UK crowd. Philip Hergovec. Not sure what he's going on. I haven't heard his name in a bit. He's Swedish, is Otto Wallen. Shout out to the amateur coaches from Sweden that I got in contact with when I was in Finland. Some very good guys. So, anyways, Frankie Sanchez, this guy Linier Perro, but nobody knows him. Martin Bacoli, he's a UK guy, right? Martin Bacoli's ranked top 10 in most of these. What about Derek Chisora? Derek Chisora is still hanging around. Hey, this guy, Derek Chisora. You know what? You'd have to pay a lot of money, however. Yeah, no. They're not. I guess that would be the thing. No. I'm still, just because of the finances of it. Yeah, I don't think Anderson's people would pay that money for Chisora, especially since Chisora is not even ranked in the top 10 anywhere. I mean, it's a very good name, but Chisora is not ranked anywhere. Like I think Chisora would be like good for you guys, a good domestic, a good domestic fight because his name is big over there. Much respect to Derek Chisora in his career, but I'm just saying like his name is not as big over here to be like, oh, Anderson's fighting Derek Chisora. But much respect to Derek Chisora, very good career. Much respect to him. Bacoli would be tough. What does Anderson gain from fighting a risky fight against Bacoli? It's not that you have to gain, but it's just two big names. You know, two big guys fighting each other. Two big names fighting each other. Um, I'm definitely not comparing these guys to some of the all-time greats, not yet. But you remember, like Sugar Ray and Tommy Hearns fought each other when they were both in their early 20s. You know, still had great careers after that. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis both fought each other when they're in their mid 20s. You know, they're both going to go on to still have great careers. So it's not just about what you gain from you. Just gain having a good fight and putting good fights together. So that's what he would gain from it. Canadian heavyweight, you'll have to help me out with the name. Oh man, Carl Mack. Listen, we got some guys on the come up. No one has bursted the scene yet, but much respect to the Canadian heavyweights out there that are working hard. Yes, working hard. Carl says you cannot put a hype job in with Bacoli. He will get beat, and the American dream of having another heavyweight will be over. But that again, that is your assumption that he is a hype job. That is your assumption that he is a hype job. I personally don't think that he's a hype job. I see the skills there. And again, no, you can't call someone a hype job when they have teenager amount of fights as pros. Come on now. Guy's 15 fights to call him a hype job. Like he's getting exposure because he has good skills and he's doing his thing. Yes, cheers to you too, Carl. Much respect. But yeah, so there you have it. I think that is the show for today. Once again, that pick right there is funny. No, he's not Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson, but displays a little bit of skills of both of those guys. Yes. If you haven't done it yet, please press the like button and tell a friend to tell a friend. The scorecard. Wasn't much of a scorecard to compare, but I appreciate the comments. Once again, shout out to the Last Bell Boxing Show, #1 boxing show from the UK. Also, shout out to my man. Who else was in there? My man Joseph Brown. Much respect to you. Thank you for taking the time to make a comment in there. Please come back. Shout out to Talkin Fight boxing YouTube channel and network, the number one boxing podcast network on YouTube. As I say it all the time, not just one type of boxing show on here. All types of boxing shows, from history to present to specifically to the females. Shout out to Sugar, the champ, show on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, 7 or 7:30. I wanna jump on that. Hopefully, jump on that next show to help talk about Franchon Cruz and the Marshall fight. That was interesting. So yeah, like I said, if you haven't done it, press that like button, and I will be back next week with another scorecard. All right, peace.